Welcome back, SethBling here, and today I want to show you my personal best speedrun for Super Mario Bros. 2. This game gets kind of a bad rap. It was originally released in Japan as Doki Doki Panic 2, and it has some unconventional gameplay elements for Mario games, but I actually have been finding it to be a pretty fun game with a relatively satisfying control scheme and physics and stuff. So I'm going to go over my personal best, kind of commentate on what's going on, any sequence breaks or glitches or things like that. For instance, here, there's this glitch where when you get hit with a bomb, you can actually, you get all of your velocity gets halted, and it lets you kind of get in to that little area a little bit faster. Something interesting about this game is Birdo shoots his eggs once every 4 seconds, or 256 frames, which is about 4 seconds. And it's on a global timer. So there's like 4-second windows that you can kind of arrive at Birdo, and they will all lead to the same sort of time beating the level. It's like a frame rule, kind of like in Super Mario Bros. 1, which has third of a second game rules. Here, this is a carpet glitch. This is pretty cool. If you have 2 rideable carpets on screen at the same time, then one goes twice the speed. It's a cool little glitch. The carpets have to be rideable, which means they can't have the little bird dude on them. And so it's a pretty fast setup for the carpet glitch. So you have to respawn him. And again, Birdo fight, pretty straightforward. You'll notice I'm using different characters. In Mario 2, you could choose which character you wanted to use for each level. In the previous one, I used Luigi. In this one, I used Toad. Toad runs faster and picks up enemies faster. He runs faster when he's carrying an enemy. And so in speed runs, and you'll see that here, so watch his speed, and then as he picks up the enemy, he starts going a bit faster. In speed runs, he's sort of like the default character, unless you need Luigi's extra jump height. Now, I'm not going to be using Toad in that many of these levels, even though he is fast. I'm going to be using Peach a lot, actually, because... Oh yeah, so this is the first warp. You use a potion, and then go in a door, and then go down the pipe, and that's the first warp, from 1-3 to 4-1. So like in this level, a good speedrunner would use Toad, and they would pick up an enemy and just like run really fast. I'm using Luigi because it makes the jumps really easy. And then I use Peach a lot because it makes... Peach in this game like can float when she does jumps. And it just makes the platforming way easier. So maybe as I get better, I'll start using Toad in more of these levels. But you can see these jumps. Luigi just jumps super far in this game, and so he can just jump over all the enemies very easily rather than having to dodge them and jump over them and stuff. It just makes it a lot easier. Yeah. So yeah, and then get the orb. And so this level doesn't have a boss fight. It's sort of a weird one. The boss fight is sort of this like enemy rush at the end. So here we can see me using Peach. You'll see what I mean with the floaty jump. The floaty jump is something you can see in Super Smash Brothers. That's Peach's ability in Super Smash Brothers. So yeah, just makes this first room is not very hard with no matter what character. You just have to memorize the patterns. And I've learned how to do it with Toad, and it's not that hard or anything. But the second room is quite a bit harder if you want to use Toad, whereas Peach can just float. Toad can't even make it onto these ice blocks. He can't jump that far. So yeah, you pick up a potion, and then these whales are also kind of hard to navigate with Toad. Whereas they're very easy with Peach. So as I get better, I might switch to Toad. So this is the second warp. There's only 2 warps. So we go to 6-1. So 7 is the last world. There's only 7 worlds in this game. Again, choosing Peach because she makes these jumps way easier. But yeah, this is pretty straightforward platforming. Let's see, what's there to talk about? So yeah, my time for this run was 10:39. You'll see the whole run if you stick around. The world record is 8 minutes and 16 seconds. So I'm more than 2 minutes off the world record. It's a lot. There's a lot of faster strategies you can use. I'm doing a lot of safe strats, again, because of that speedrun medley that I've talked about in some of the previous videos. Here you have to dig down and get this key, and that awakens the, what's he called? I don't know. I don't remember what he's called. Anyway, this masked dude who will go for you, but he's actually pretty easy to dodge in this level. Here, sometimes Birdo will just snipe you as you're running under those sand blocks. And there's just like not much you can do about it. But I got, I didn't get bad luck, and that was a pretty good fight. You can see on the right side, there's my timer program where I'm manually splitting every time I beat a level. I got a couple of gold splits, which means up to that point, I hadn't ever completed that level that fast. So this level is an auto scroller, sort of. There's no like enforced camera scrolling the screen, but you kind of have to ride these birds over the level. There are actually strategies where you can not ride these birds, and you can actually use Luigi and like jump from enemy to enemy as you're going to, there's some platforms in the middle too. It's pretty hard, and I haven't learned how to do it yet, but it does save a lot of time. Obviously, we're just riding the birds here. You'll see I kind of do like a little bit of it at the very end here, just like jump forward and land on enemies and stuff. But this fight is really hard for me, but I think I did it pretty well in this run. Yeah, you notice you get iframes or invincibility frames whenever you're picking up an object. Birdo, or nothing can damage you for the duration of you picking up an object. And different characters take longer to pick up the object, so you actually get more iframes with certain characters and fewer iframes with others. But it's an important tactic to use in some of the Birdo fights to make yourself invincible while Birdo would be shooting you. So this is a potion jump here. Got it first try in this run, which is pretty sweet. It's kind of difficult. You have to it's pretty. You've probably seen it with like shells and stuff before, right? In other Mario games, shell jumps or Mario Maker. Here's another relatively difficult Birdo fight that I did pretty well. Yep, and the block is called a mushroom block, the block that you hit Birdo with. And it can be really hard to pick that up sometimes. Here's a little physics glitch. It looks really goofy. But and this boss is called Triclide. There's, again, faster ways. If you're willing to damage boost, take damage intentionally, you can beat him in just 2 hits. But and you can beat him a lot faster than that. But I chose the easy route of just kind of throwing mushroom blocks at him. All right, 7-1 is a very vertical level, so Luigi is a pretty natural choice to use in this level. There's a lot of jumping and stuff. You could go right, but it's faster. There's like a secret if you go left here. It's not a very secret, but lets you skip some of the level, and it's pretty easy to get to as well. There's a pretty big like skip here where if you jump off of this Shy Guy as he's jumping, you can make it all the way over that pillar and up the ladder, and that actually saves quite a bit of time, and it's pretty easy to do as well. And then here again, doing a super jump off these blocks. Oh yeah, I had to wait. Doing a super jump off these blocks, you can get right up onto the ladders. You don't have to. I think the intended strategy there is to pick up the mushroom blocks and kind of stack them up. Here I had to wait for the Sniffit to shoot. He can just snipe you. He'll shoot whenever he wants, and you can get sniped. And then one last Birdo fight. I will encounter another Birdo in 7-2. 7-2 is the last level, but that was the last one. Taking damage in the Birdo fight isn't a big deal. Basically every level you're made big again. So here again I use Peach because it's just like a little bit easier. You get to float over stuff. It doesn't make a big difference, but like this part is a little bit harder if you can't float over them. But there's a glitch coming up called the chain jump. Basically, after you come off any like climbable surface, like a ladder or a chain, like one of these chains, you can jump for like a frame or 2. It's a little bit easier with Luigi. Luigi gets some more frames to jump, but it took me a few tries. Because it's a pretty tight window, but then you just kind of jump over here, and this is a pretty big sequence break in 7-2. So you get to skip a lot of the level. Normally the key in this room would be like within Birdo, but since you spawn in like a weird spot, the key is just free floating, and you don't have to defeat Birdo, which is nice. Then I use the key to defeat a couple Sparkies and fight this. It was like a big shock. This hawk is not your friend in this level. Not yet, anyway. You have to actually fight him. Normally, this is, you go through that hawk to finish each level. The hawk's mouth opens wide. And so here, you do have to do the same thing, but after you fight him. Just a little funny little troll. And then the Wart Fight here. is kind of interesting. So you have to shoot the vegetables into his mouth. Well, not actually into his mouth, but you have to hit him while his mouth is open. He really doesn't like vegetables. If you time it right, you basically skip an entire cycle. So there's like 6-second cycles of this. And if you time it right, like I did just there, he doesn't shoot any bubbles out and you immediately spawn another vegetable. I was a little late there, so I didn't spawn a vegetable. And here, yeah, so you have to wait, and so he'll shoot bubbles that you have to dodge. There it was good again, and I was able to hit him and also spawn a vegetable. And there again I did, but it didn't matter because that was the last hit. This is a big personal best for me. I saved almost a minute off of my previous personal best. I had several other runs during this stream that were nearly as good, like a couple seconds off. So it is definitely something I'm capable of repeating, and I think I can beat it too. I would like to get a sub 10-minute time. I think it's going to be a little bit hard, but I think it's pretty doable. Again, 8:16 is the world record, so there's a lot of time that can be saved if you're willing to do some pretty hard stuff. But I think sub 10 is doable without doing anything like too tricky. But just having a better Wart Fight would help a lot. There's still quite a bit of time I can save just by getting the perfect hit on Wart and saving those cycles. This run was actually has been really fun to learn and to do speed runs of. And so yeah, I hope you'll join me on Twitch as I do some more of these. But for now, that's about it. Thanks for watching.